Hi friends, today we are going to see the past year NEET questions for a new chapter, and today in this video we will see about biological classification, and in this video we will cover part 1. So let's begin with the first question here. Pick up the wrong statement. So you're given 4 statements here. You just need to identify which one is wrong. So look at the first statement here. Protista have photosynthetic and heterotrophic modes of nutrition. That's right. Some fungi are edible. Yes. Nuclear membrane is present in Monera. Cell wall is absent in Animalia. So the right answer to this question is option C. Kingdom Monera, they do not have a nuclear membrane. Apart from that, if you want to know anything about the Monera kingdom, it will contain the unicellular organisms. What does it contain? It will contain unicellular organisms. Okay. With prokaryotic cell organization, exclusively this kingdom Monera will be bacteria. They are single-celled organisms with no true nuclear membrane. The taxon Monera was first proposed as a phylum by who actually proposed it as a separate phylum? By Ernest. Okay, in the year 1866. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option C. Nuclear membrane is present in Monera. Okay, this statement is only wrong out of the 4 options that is given here. So here you have the diagram which shows the structure of the bacteria. It has a cytoplasm, ribosome, nucleoid, cell wall, flagellum, pilus, capsule, everything. So the correct answer is option C. Next question here. Find 5 kingdom classification system, okay, was suggested by R.H. Whittaker, is not based on dash. 5 kingdom classification was given by R.H. Whittaker. That is the right answer, but which is not the answer here. I mean, it is not based on what? You're given 4 options here. Presence or absence of well-defined nucleus, mode of reproduction, mode of nutrition, complicity of the body organization. Now, when we talk about this 5 kingdom classification, okay, it was proposed by R.H. Whittaker in the year 1969. The 5 kingdom classification is based on the complicity of the cell structure. So when we say complicity, we will say prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Then we will talk about the organization, body organization, whether it is unicellular or multicellular. Mode of nutrition, whether it is autotrophic or heterotrophic. And phylogenetic relationships, and reproduction is also there, sexual or asexual. So all that is there, but it is not based on the presence or absence of the well-defined nucleus. Therefore, the correct answer is option A. Okay, it takes in consideration of the rest of the 3 options, but it is not based upon the presence or the absence of the nucleus. Okay, next question here. What is common about trypanosoma? Okay, then you have monocyst and giardia. So you are given 4 options here. So all these organisms, if you see, they have flagella, they produce spores, they are all parasites, they are all unicellular protists. What do you think will be common here? But basically before that, what is this trypanosoma? What are these organs actually? See, trypanosoma is a parasite. Okay, it belongs to the genus of kinetoplastids. Okay, it's a monophyletic group of unicellular parasite. So they all belong to a family called protozoans. Okay, trypanosoma is a part of a phylum, and the name is derived from the trypno means borer and soma means body, because they actually drill through your body. Okay, it's a corkscrew method. They call it as corkscrew like motion. Likewise, everything that is given here, monocyst, giardia, it causes giardiasis. So what is specific or what is common in them, if you see, they are all unicellular protist. Okay, they are not the one which belong, that is, they are unicellular eukaryotes. They are not unicellular prokaryotes. Okay, what is common about these 4 organisms is that they are all parasites. They produce, see, spores is not common among them, flagella is not common among them. Parasites, trypanosoma, giardia, they are parasites, but I am not sure about monocyst and the other one that is given here. But trypanosoma, giardia are compulsory parasites. But monocysts, they have certain benefits also, but apart from that, they also act as parasites, but they are not 100% parasites. So here the correct answer is option D. They are unicellular protists, that they are unicellular eukaryotes, not prokaryotes. Okay. The correct answer is option D. Next question here, which was asked in the year 1998 and continued, asked in 2003. In a 5-kingdom system of classification, which single kingdom out of the following can include blue-green algae, nitrogen-fixing bacteria, and methanogenic archaebacteria? I think this is a very easy question for you. Monera is a prokaryotic kingdom that includes bacteria, blue-green algae, and also you have archaebacteria. When I say archaebacteria, the other name for this is ancient bacteria. Okay. Protista, if you take this protista, I told you what all Monera will have. Now what will protista have? It includes slime, unicellular and colonial eukaryotes. The most important are the diatoms, dinoflagellates, euglenoids, molds and protozoans. And fungi, you know what the kingdom will consist of. It will have all the multicellular fungi coming under it. And plantae, you know, you'll have all the plant kingdom coming under it. Okay, therefore the correct answer to this question is option D, Monera. So that is what they have explained to your right side. Monera only will include blue-green algae, archaebacteria, cyanobacteria. All these will come under this category. Okay, therefore the correct answer is option D. Next question here. In 5-kingdom system, the main basis of classification is dash. Okay. Now, you're given 4 options here. Structure of nucleus. Obviously, we saw in the earlier question, R.H. Whittaker 5-kingdom classification is not based upon the well-defined nucleus. Therefore, option A goes out here. Structure of cell wall, asexual reproduction and mode of nutrition. So we all know the 5-kingdom classification is based on the complicity of cell structure, complicity of body structure, modes of nutrition, ecological lifestyle and phylogenetic relationship. So out of the 4 options that are given here, the correct answer is mode of nutrition. When I say mode of nutrition, they include whether they are autotrophic, okay, whether they are autotrophic or heterotrophic. What do you mean by auto and hetero? See, when I say autotrophic organisms, they can synthesize or they are not dependent on other source for food. Okay, when I say heterotrophic, they are totally dependent on another source for their food and other needs. Okay, so the 5-kingdom classification system, the main basis of classification is a mode of nutrition. Okay, next question here, which was asked in the year 1999. A system of classification in which a large number of traits are considered is dash. Okay. Now this is actually a definition that they've given you. Okay. Artificial system, we'll go one by one. That will be better. Artificial system of classification is based on the comparison of one of few characters. So this is based on comparison. So this is not the answer. A system based upon a large number of natural characters or the traits in natural system of classification is called as natural system. Phylogenetic system, it is a classification that talks about the evolutionary, the present, everything. Okay, so this is about evolution and all will account into it. Okay. What about synthetic classification? It is similar to that of artificial system, where you'll have 2 or 3 characters or more than 3 characters will be compared or will be synchronized, or they'll check the similarity among the organisms and they will classify. Therefore, a system of classification in which a large number of traits which are taken into account will be natural system. Okay, so this was proposed by D. Jusso and phylogenetic. So who proposed it? So here you have the answer. Okay, it was proposed by D. Jusso. Okay, the correct answer is option C. Next question here. Phylogenetic classification is based on dash. We just now saw in the earlier question, right? When we talk about phylogenetic classification, we talk about the evolutionary aspects also. The first phylogenetic system of classification was proposed by Adolf Engler and his associate Carl in their monograph Die. So they actually they proposed a theory or a book. They have written certain things and that is how the first classification of phylogeny started. In this system of classification, organisms are classified on the basis of evolutionary sequence and genetic relationship. So the two aspects that come here is also evolutionary and the genetic makeup. Okay. So other things that you need to know about here is, see, when we talk about evolutionary aspects, we also give consideration for fossils. Okay, we take in the history and we also connect it with the present and study. So that is about phylogenetic classification. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option D, common evolutionary descent. Okay, next question here, which was asked in the year 1989. Artificial system of classification was first used by dash. So we just now saw what is artificial system of classification. You compare and study. A comparison is made between 2 or 3 characters and they will study based on that the different types of organisms. During the early period in taxonomy, only certain, see, this system of classification was initial because when we initially started studying organisms, their structure, their cell wall, their mode of nutrition, and etc., we did not get much information because that was just the beginning stage where we started to research and study. So when the scenario was like that, we did not get much characteristics in account to study. So whatever characteristic they found out or they researched and got it, they actually compared it with one another organism and they started studying. So this was the first, during the early period in taxonomy, only external morphology, that is the physical appearance, was given more importance because research and all that actually enhanced in the years to come. So the physical appearance was the first thing that they identified and they started comparing and study. Okay, so the correct answer to this question is Pliny and Edler. Option C is the right answer. Okay, so here you have a description for that as well. Maybe you can see that and read. So here if you see where the sole criteria to classify plants and animals, then you so Theo was the person who gave names for the description of 480 plants in his book Historia Plantarum on the basis of their habit, but Pliny and Edler only introduced this artificial system of classification. Therefore, the correct answer is Pliny and Edler. Next question here. System of classification used by Linnaeus. I think this is a very easy question for you to answer. So, Carolus Linnaeus was a person to introduce binomial nomenclature. But where did he take his source from? That is important, right? He introduced something called binomial nomenclature, but he has to have a source from where we had. Now, for example, if we have to start something new, we need a precursor in order to start it. So he has to start from A. He needs that source, and that source, if you see, it is taken from the artificial system. Because artificial system was the initial system of classification, from there he started collecting information and then he enhanced his method of classification. Okay. Linnaeus put forward an artificial system to plant classification, which was based on the sexual characters. It is commonly called the sexual system of plant classification. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option B. I think you can understand why is the answer artificial, because if you clearly remember here, when we talk about the initial, we have only artificial system, right? So, we need a source. Now, for example, if we need certain information, there should always be something stored where we will go research it, and then with the got information we will proceed further. So that is why this artificial system plays a role here. Okay, next question here. Classification given by Bentham and Hooker. Okay. See, George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker have given us a natural system of classification. When I say natural system, we already discussed this in the earlier question where we were asked about what is we were given 4 options where we had an artificial, natural, synthetic classification and so on. Now, when we say natural system of classification, it accounts everything where we'll have large number of traits, right? Large number of traits to be accounted in. So this George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker have given us this natural system of classification. In this system of classification, all the important characteristics of the organism provide us information regarding their natural relationship. So you take in consideration every characteristic. You do not leave anything. It's not a comparison, but you take in account every characteristic and you study. Okay, so here if you see, you look for the similarities, you compare, everything comes into account here when we talk about natural system. Okay, for example, mammals are characterized by the presence of mammary glands, hair, then we have a 4-chambered heart. So we are not just taking the physical appearance, but we are going internal also. Okay, now if you take artificial system, where they did not have much information about the classification already, it's just a beginning, so they do not have much information. So the very first thing that they did is they started looking for the physical appearance. But when you take natural classification, they went internal, depth of each organism. So the correct answer is option B, natural system of classification. Okay, next question. Which one of the following are found in an extreme saline condition? What do you mean by saline? Salt, right? High amount of salt. So you're given 4 options here: cyanobacteria, mycobacteria, eubacteria and archaebacteria. Now we will go one by one. I think that should be clear for you. What do you mean by eubacteria? How can you describe it? See, eubacteria is a typical biological cell. They constitute a large domain of prokaryotic microorganisms. Typically they are few micrometers in length, and they show different shapes. Okay, they are among the first life forms to appear on Earth, and they are present in most of the habitats. They require little moisture to grow. Therefore, it is not eubacteria. Cyanobacteria is also called as blue-green algae, and once again, that is not the answer. Mycobacteria. What do you mean by mycobacteria? See, mycobacteria is a genus of acetinobacteria, and this has about more than 190 species, it seems. Okay, and they are recognized by this genus, and they include and they are mostly pathogens. Okay, and another thing about to talk here is mycobacteria is responsible for causing TB, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, or tuberculae you call it as. So once again, it is not mycobacteria. The correct answer is archaebacteria. Archaebacteria are able to survive in harsh conditions due to the presence of branched lipid chain in their cell membrane that reduces to fluidify their cell wall or their cell membrane. So this helps in the rigidity. The cell wall will not be easily broken up. It includes halophiles, which are exclusively found in saline habitats where the environment has more amount of salt. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option D, archaebacteria. And I've just given you a microscopic view of how they appear. So they're all rod-shaped bacteria. Okay, next question here. Which one of the following component provides sticky character to the bacterial cell? Okay, you're given 4 options here now. So when we talk about sticky character, obviously it is not nuclear membrane and plasma membrane and cell wall, because they only contribute to the protection. They do not help in sticking. If it happens to be sticky, then imagine everything that enters the cell will all be stuck onto the membrane, which is sometimes be necessary, sometimes not necessary for the organism. The correct answer is glycolex. Sticky character of bacterial cell walls is due to glycolex, which is rich in glycoproteins, a combination of carbohydrate and proteins. Okay, the correct answer is option C. Next question. Which among the following are the smallest living cells known without a definite cell wall? They are pathogenic to plants as well as animals and can survive without oxygen. Okay, they are the smallest of all. Okay, you're given keywords here. They're smallest of all. They do not have a definite cell wall. So that's the next keyword that you need to identify here. Another thing, they are common. They are pathogenic to plants as well as animals. And the main important thing is they can survive without oxygen. Okay, so this is an important keyword here. So they are anaerobic in nature. So out of the 4 options given here, Pseudomonas, Nostoc, Bacillus, they all require oxygen to grow. Okay, and Nostoc, if you see, they are not pathogenic to animals and all, because it's one kind of algae. Pseudomonas and Bacillus, they require oxygen to grow. So the correct answer is Mycoplasma. They are the smallest of all, which lacks in cell wall, and they are pleomorphic in nature, that is they exhibit different shapes. They are pathogenic to both plants and animals, and apart from that, the very important thing to be noted here is they can even survive in the absence of oxygen. Therefore, the correct answer to this question is option B, Mycoplasma. And another thing to note here is they are very pathogenic to animals, especially mammals. They cause an important disease called tuberculosis in humans, which is caused by this particular Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Okay, the correct answer is option B. Next question here, which was asked in the year 2015. Which one of the following structures is not found in prokaryotic cells? Very easy question for you to answer, because when we started with this part, we saw the first picture where I showed you a structure of Archaebacteria, the kingdom Monera. We all saw it had ribosome, mesosome, plasma membrane. The only thing, it did not have a well-defined nucleus, and therefore no proper nuclear envelope. Nuclear envelope is something that is not found in prokaryotes. Therefore, the correct answer is option D. Okay. Next question. The structures that help some bacteria to attach to rocks or to some host tissues are called as dash. Now, you're given 4 options here. It is obviously not mesosomes, rhizoids, because rhizoids they are talking to rocks and host tissues. Rhizoids, they are under roots. Okay, they are mostly in the plant kingdom, where they help the plant to attach to the soil and storage of water to some extent. Now, what is this Fimbriae? Have you ever heard about this concept called Fimbriae and hold fast? See, Fimbriae can also be described as a thread, or you can call it as a series of threads, or sometimes you can even call it as projections. Okay, so what is the Fimbria? Fimbria is a finger-like projections located at the ends of the fallopian tube. Okay, fallopian tubes closest to the ovaries. The majority of Fimbriae do not touch the ovary, but rather very close to them, and they are activated by the hormones to catch a released egg and move it into the fallopian tube. So this is a common thing about a common introduction about Fimbriae. Now, what is the Fimbriae used for? It is used by the bacteria to adhere to one another or to adhere it to the host cell. A bacterium can have many, that is, it can even have more than 1000 Fimbriae, it seems. Fimbriae are the only one which is visible, which is when you view it under the electron microscope. So the correct answer to this question is option A, Fimbriae. Fimbriae assist some bacteria in attaching to the rocks and host body for obtaining establishment and also obtain nutrition from the host. The correct answer is option E. Sometimes the bacteria might have even more than 1000 Fimbriae, it seems, and this is the only part that is visible under the electron microscope when you view it. Okay, so with this we complete the part 1 biological classification. Hope to meet you in this with the same chapter with the next part. Okay, thank you.